I will put it here. All right, from students in Fairfax City, we are very grateful that Rosie Frater-Taylor accepted our invitation to our show. Rosie, welcome to our humble podcast.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me. Lovely to see you again for the
That's
second
right,
time.
absolutely. Your show was great. I have a great time seeing you listen to your music. I bought the two vinyls, and they're great music. So I'm very happy to talk to you. Let's go back to the beginning of your life, Rosie. Were you born like in a musical family? For people that don't know you, how old were you when you perhaps began taking, guitar lesson or piano lesson, that sort of
Yeah,
thing?
right back to the very beginning. Let's see. So yeah, I do come from a musical family. My dad is a drummer, and my mum is a singer, and they sort of had a project when they were, before they had me, that was very kind of fusion, folk, rock, jazz, kind of blending a lot of different styles of music. So I guess my first like musical memory is probably listening to a lot of that music that they love. And we were just chatting about a few of those names like Pat Metheny, like Tanya Maria, Zero 07. So a lot of music was kind of or interesting music was around my house, like when I was even before I started playing. But in terms of like instruments, I started with drums first. I was about 8. My dad like gave me lessons and would teach me like rudiments and rock beats and all of that sort of stuff. And then I think I got very obsessed with like rock music. So like the Guns N' Roses of the world, and which I think we all kind of have that phase at some point, like Red Hot Chili Peppers, Guns N' Roses. I was about 9 or 10 when I started playing guitar. Yeah, and I think I've always loved. I've always been a bit of like a teacher's pet, so I've always loved. Oh, you've frozen there.
There we go. All right, good.
There we go. We're back in action.
Yep,
Um,
sure.
yeah, I've always been a bit of a teacher's pet and loved kind of being good at things, and so I would kind of play a lot of different instruments and see which one I could like get the best at. And yeah, I guess kind of guitar was something that called me to it. I guess because you've got like the songwriting aspect as well as the sort of like shredding aspect, the solos, the big chords. Yeah, I guess that's where I started. And then I mean, I got into jazz quite young as well. When I was 13 or 14, I would play in like jazz big bands and stuff for
Yeah.
like young people, and that's where I learned to like read music and play like comp in the back of the band, like chugging along, which is great actually for getting your chops together as a guitarist, like full stop. Because it's that these bands take no prisoners, and these band leaders like take no prisoners either. They're like, if you can't play it, then you don't get in the band. So yeah, that's kind of where I started soloing and playing, like getting into that jazz world, I guess. And I went on to study it fully as well, as for like degree. So I did a jazz degree as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's.
good for you. Somehow my camera is not behaving, but let's
I know
continue.
it's sad. I can't see your lovely face.
Yeah, I no idea. We need to. Okay, let's go forward. Don't worry. So, but you you mentioned that I was reading that you began playing drum lesson with your dad when you were 8 years old, and then by 10, I think, or 14, you have written your first song, right?
Yeah, yeah. I was I had a little like kiddie band where I was like the most passionate member of the band. So I would like write all the music and sing and play guitar, and I listen back to those songs and I don't think they're half bad. I really don't think they're half bad. But yeah, that sort of thing has always come very naturally to me. I've always, I guess it's a blessing having heard such great music from such a young age. It's like I've always had those little earworms in my ear that I want to kind of put out there into songs and stuff. Yeah.
I got you. I got you. And
Mm.
of course, I believe that well, when you were 15 or 15, right? You began playing with Cubase, and you put some demos together, and you recorded at the age of 16, which
Yeah.
eventually became your first album, On My Mind, right, in 2018, believe it or not.
Yes. That's quite right. You know you've got the facts correct there.
Oh, I do my research.
You do your research. I love it. I love it. That's exactly right. I mean, I've always been. I come from a family of like uh, do-it-yourselfers, like DIYers. And so my dad was very like encouraging of me just kind of messing around with like some, I guess, music software and seeing what would come out of it. And I think
Mm.
it's kind of where I kind of honed my style really, because I've never been a very techie minded, not like yourself, in your other guys. But I think for me it was like I was always when I was recording, I was playing everything. So my approach to like a drum beat would be like kind of tapping like my legs or like clapping, clicking, beatboxing sometimes. And then my approach to like all the building this sort of sound world would be to layer up like tons and tons of guitar parts and to create really interesting harmonies. And then the same with like the vocals and stuff. I've always loved this sound of layered vocals because I think it makes your track sound very complete. And so yeah, when I was 16, that was just kind of came from experimenting, and it's the process that I have like 10 years on from that is pretty much exactly the same, like very live. I'll play everything on the tracks, and like just layer everything up. And yeah, so it's just came from experimenting and kind of having someone who was really willing to encourage me to do that, I guess. Yeah.
And then, so when you finished the first album, you were very young, and how was
Mm.
the album received? I mean, you sent the album to different radio station, magazine, because you got very good reviews.
Yeah,
I,
so I put out a record before, so I put out an album called Bloom.
yeah,
That was technically my second album. So the one
yeah,
before that was On My Mind, and
yeah.
that was kind of it was more of an experiment really for me, like just putting something out there. I always, if people ever ask me, I'm like, just getting something out there is better than not releasing it, even if it's not the most perfect release. It's yeah, I think just by putting that out, yeah, I think I kind of found a manager through that, and got a few like really nice reviews, and it's you get a few ounces of validation, and then it kind of spurs you on to continue. So yeah, that was very very DIY, very like let's just see what happens if I put this out. And then my following album was more kind of more of an official release, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing some research, and I read that Lauren Bush from London Just News really say great things about that particular record, right? On My Mind, right? And you were very young, so good for
Yeah,
you. Good for
thank you
you.
very much.
No, no, no problem. And by 2021, believe it or not, 4 years ago, you end up completing your degree at the Royal Academy of Music, and then of course Bloom came along, and you end up um, getting over 4 million streams, earning the Gilles Peterson Worldwide Award nomination. Good for you. Good for
Thank
you.
you.
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Not too shabby,
To shout like this.
as far as it goes.
Yeah. So you knew back then when you were obviously because you come from a family of music musicians, you knew back then that you wanted to make a living as a musician, I suppose, right? So that's why you studied that with study.
Yeah, I mean, I was really into like academia as well, I think. But then when it came to it, like I just kind of I didn't apply to any universities. I was like, oh, maybe I'll just like take some time off of this. The only one I applied to was the Royal Academy, and when I got in, I was like, well, I guess I should probably go. I should probably go.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's like it's quite a niche style. Of course, you've got like very esoteric kinds of jazz, like not it's not even straight ahead jazz really that you play there. It's like very a lot of it is very complicated music that like not all of it is my taste really, but as like a grounds for learning music just in general, it was amazing because you're I've always loved being, or I'm like spurred on when I'm surrounded by people who are better than me at music, and everyone there was kind of like at some point better than me, and I was like, trying to reach this standard. And I think it really just made me a better player, and it opens your ear up to kind of new palettes and new harmonies that, my first love is pop music and singer-songwriter music. So I'll always write that style, but with these kind of jazzier harmonies that I had the opportunity to really understand by studying it, I guess. But yeah, it was sort of just it wasn't really planned. I mean, I've always felt the need to make like make music accessible, and to make music that is accessible. And I think that yeah, the academy was like I guess, yeah, it wasn't really that, but it definitely shaped the way that I make music. So yeah.
I got it. I got it. I got it. In general, for people that they don't know, and not everybody's a millionaire or a rich person as a musician, but how difficult it is to make a living as a musician? Well, you're still, at home,
Mm.
single, not married, and then, trying to make it into the world. How difficult it is to get gigs at your age, or get a promoter, or get, this playing this venue and that venue, and so how
Yeah,
difficult to
it's
make
a
a
good
living?
question. I mean, it's sort of, I think it depends on the person.
Yeah.
It depends how much of a hustler you are. Like, depends how good you are at like collaborating and meeting people and putting yourself out there. I think in my case, I think I've known for a very long, I've had a very particular direction for myself in mind at a very early age. And it's always been to do this sort of singer-songwriter thing, but with the jazz attached to it. So I think having been so clear about that from so early on, I wasn't kind of getting distracted by being like, oh, maybe I'll write songs for other people, or maybe I'll play in this person's band. It's like I've always had that one vision. So I think if you're strong in your vision, then you often attract people who are willing to facilitate that vision. So I was fortunate to, get a manager and get an agent, and fairly early on after I put Bloom out, and play a lot of shows via that, just off of the back of my project. And it's like you can other people can only do so much for you as well. Like there's a big part of, I guess, making it in the music industry is your own vision for yourself and your own strategy for yourself as an artist. So I do a lot of that kind of work myself as well. But I think it comes from meeting people, from just being in the scene, and just actually having music that people resonate with at the end of the day, like, and a
Yeah.
live show that people like you've got to be good. I think that's the key, you've got to be good. There are people who do very well who aren't good, and I admire them for it, but like everything that's come my way has I've been very fortunate to yeah, I feel like they just like what I do, and so yeah, I'd say that's the first step for me.
Good for you. Of course, we are talking about the second album, Bloom, that
Mm.
was released in June 2021. I think with the single "Think About You," I think that make a big difference, because I read some reviews already, and described that song as folky, jazzy, and bluesy, and you got great reviews. Well, good for you. Good for you. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's I I mean, there's nothing. I've always loved or longed for that sort of critical acclaim in what I do. It's like it's not. I don't want to churn out song after song after song. I spend a lot of time kind of considering the music and considering all the different aspects of the songwriting. So when those reviews do come in, it's like okay, well, this is. I was right to trust my instinct there, or it was, it's really nice for kind of honing that instinct for a good song and a good piece of music, like when you I guess get some of those reviews come in. So yeah.
I got it. I got it. What's your methodology when writing new music, I mean, you go to a studio, you go to your room, you pick up the guitar, music comes to you when you go to a supermarket, you're walking down the street and you hear like a phrase. Man, that would be like a catchy phrase, or and then you go home and then just huh?
It's a good question. I think I there's a few things. I mean, I get very inspired by the guitar as an instrument. I think because it sits in so many different genres and so many different worlds. It's like I can get, yeah, like you can, if you come up with a riff or like a chord or something, it's like that will normally inspire me the most. Like if I come up with a particular voicing, for example, that's got like a melody built into it, and I'm like, well, where will that go next? Like the harmonic aspect of it is very inspiring for me. But I think as well, like I mean, and it's quite an obvious thing, but I'm very inspired by other people's music. So if I'm like, if I'll like, I've been checking out a David Bowie record recently, called Reality, which is, it's not his like his most famous, but it was kind of came out about like early 2000s. And you know, I really loved like the drum groove in, and the tempo actually of one of his songs, the first track on the record. And so I took that idea to my studio and I was like, okay, I'm gonna come up with a loop for this drum beat, and then I'm gonna write on top of that and write a sort of, so I like, my demo is called like Bowie, you know, so it's like inspired by that vibe. But often when I'm writing within a vibe, it never ends up sounding like the original in the end. It's just sort of a mental exercise sometimes.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, and it's good to you create your own version of this, right? So I was reading that I think your music role models in many ways are, of course, Joni Mitchell and then Olivia Janney, and then on the folk side, Pat Metheny, George Benson. So I'm quite sure that your dad was putting a lot of music in the background for you to listen, and you were kind of discover your own way to play, your own way of as a musician, right? Playing, learning for other people, but at the end of the day, you gotta use your own. You need to be your own Rosie, right? So
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
right. So it's
Yeah, I mean, I think it's songwriting is such a weird thing. Like I actually teach songwriting. Like
really
yeah, on like as well as my own sort of project. Like I do a bit of song like teaching of songwriting, and it's a very funny thing to teach because there's so much of it you can teach, or so much of it you can like describe. Like you need having the facility or knowing the voicings or getting in knowing the music to listen to, and you know, knowing how to get yourself inspired. But then when it comes to like that inspiration or that actual kind of magical idea, that's something you can't really teach. You're sort of trying to get, you know, in myself or in other people, you're trying to get them to tap into yeah, what is them, what is their taste, or what's their inspiration, you know. It's like, so I think I've always been very good at tapping into my what inspires me and like knowing exactly what kind of moves me. So you're right, like although I listen to a lot of music and love a lot of music, it's like I'm always kind of taking, it's like building a puzzle, like taking different puzzle pieces and then matching it with what I know and harmonies that I like and chords that I like, and yeah, and then building that into a track. And it normally by the end of it just kind of will hopefully sound like me. But yeah, it's a
you
really
have. Go
exciting
ahead.
thing
Go ahead.
to explore. I mean, it's why we do it, right? It's like we all have our passions in life, and for me, it's just making and writing music. And you know, hours will fly by when I'm doing all of that stuff. So
Sure. No, I understand. I was when doing some research for the interview, and you have toured in a lot of places, and one of the famous venues that I always go is the Barbican and festivals out there. It's um, good for you. Good for you. 'Cause
yeah,
do
I
you
mean,
do you look back in your life sometime and say, man, If I were to, not too bad,
I need to
Yeah,
get better at that. I need to get better at that. I mean, I'm a massive perfectionist, and
yeah,
I have very high expectations of
right.
myself and of everyone around me. I think I think it's a good thing to do that, to have high expectations of yourself and those around you. And I think I do genuinely need to get better at that, and kind of acknowledging what yeah, like all of these amazing places I've played. And
Mm.
I'm very it's like I you feel most fortunate, I think, when you look back on it as well. And
Yeah.
so I would love to kind of be able to enjoy it more in the moment as well. Like that, I mean, I'm getting better at that. Like the Schofield gig that I played the other day, that was one of my favorite gigs because I felt so in the present moment. And I think that's part of the journey as a musician and a performer, is to get to that point of
Mm.
being able to be in that moment and not be thinking about, oh, did I play that right, or are they enjoying it, or did that
Mm.
come out right, or am I singing in tune? It's like just being in the moment. And that's when I think you truly start to enjoy all of this stuff. Yeah.
Cool. Do you get nervous? Were you nervous at the gig when
I was
that?
really nervous. I don't normally get that nervous.
Yeah.
But I think because I was playing on my own and with a loop pedal,
Yeah.
which I love playing with the looper. But it's very it's very hard. I won't lie, like that the looping is the thing that is, because there's a moment where you could fuck it up and it could just keep coming round and round and round, and it's incorrect every time, and that happens sometimes. But so yeah, I was quite nervous to make sure that I nailed all the looping in front of kind of rows and rows of probably very talented guitarists in the in that room watching
Yeah.
that show.
No, but it was a great gig, and people were very
Yeah,
happy.
for sure. I mean, I felt very,
Well
there are
received.
good gigs and bad gigs and everything in between. And I think, yeah, I was just feeling, yeah, very, very comfy on that stage. And like when you feel like you're playing to a room of people who are really listening as well, it's kind of, yeah, it's a two-way street for sure. It's
Good.
like it's a mental game if you can't, if the audience aren't giving you what you want, it's like, oh God, a bit tricky. But
Yeah, that's right. No, but it was well received. People were very happy, and at the end of the gig, people came back to the merch section and took picture with you, bought some record,
yes,
and congratulations. So good for you. And we always make mistake, and maybe you couldn't pronounce certain word, or the loop was a little faster, or whatever. But that's part of life. Your latest album, Featherweight, in the Deluxe Edition, was released in November 2024. That's a very, very, very good album. I was very happy that I bought both records from you, and that's an album that I have listened to, I don't know, probably 10 times. And
amazing.
good for you, man. Of course, I'm very aware that the album was very well received. You knew back then when you were writing the album, or when you were releasing the album, that it will kind of raise the bar for you, and it will open other doors that perhaps they were closed before, or
I think that I I think yes, it was a when I put that record out, I put so much into that album. It was like 3 years worth of work, and kind of, going through different methodologies, as to use your term, or like different processes, trying to get it to this sound that I had in my head. So it was a lot of hard work. So when it came out, I was like, I lost complete objectivity about, for the album. So yeah, it's that weird process of, you write the song initially and you're like, I really like what this is, or this idea, and then you go through this process of producing it, recording it, producing it, mixing it, mastering it, releasing it, and then you kind of only get that objectivity back like at least, at the very least, 6 months like after it's out. And so I think, and it's always very nerve-wracking putting out albums, especially because I don't think I don't try to make music that that fits anywhere. Like I'm it's my goal to make music that it kind of eludes Spotify playlists or whatever. And so yeah, it's always like I feel a bit of a statement to put an album like that out. So I did, all I knew was that I believed in the record and I believed in the music, and I still do, and obviously otherwise I wouldn't be here. But yeah, it's I think sometimes you've got to it yeah, you just have to trust yourself with these things, and I was very fortunate to get some really nice reviews, and you know be able to run with it, because it is like a slightly different direction to my last record, and I think it's kind of a more authentic expression of me, and a more honest expression of my writing, and something I'll probably explore further, like on future albums as well. So yeah, you never know for sure, but yeah, I think I do believe in the music. So yeah.
Yeah, good for you. But I think you've been spotlighted on Quincy John West TV. I think one of the best of jazz UK 2024 playlist. So good for you. Not too bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad. You're right. You're quite right. It's
I think Rosie, because you're very young. You don't look back in your life, or maybe I don't know. It's a good thing about it too. You have done a lot of great things, but maybe you're very tough on yourself, and you say,
I
well,
I mean, I think I
you
don't
need to be
really.
humble. But
Maybe it's because we were having conversations about being humble before we
that,
started talking.
that's right. We don't want to mention those names, but
No, 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 we won't. Don't worry. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I think I am tough on myself, but I'm just striving for the best. I'm striving
yeah,
for excellence. I'm striving for my best. I love music that I think is, the best I've ever heard. I just watched a concert by Billy Strings, and I'm like, this guy is unbelievable. Like, it's outstanding. That's what I strive for in myself,
yeah.
and in my work. I want it to be outstanding, and yeah, and it's what keeps me going. And I think I'm very proud of what I've done, and I think it's more like, for me, doing music is like a fact of life. It's not, I would never do anything else. And so yeah, it's just, for me, like, there's no like end point. It's always going to be just, the journey of it, and seeing what's coming next, and what music I'll be able to make next, and who I'll be able to connect with next, and that sort of thing.
Good.
Yeah.
Um, we live in terms of musician or guitarist, right? We live in a male-dominated world where, I don't know, 95% of the best or good guitarists out there are male, right? Is it difficult for a female to open door for yourself, because you are kind of one of 100, and of 99 being males and stuff like that? Is it hard to be a female, try to make it into this world? People will still take you seriously, or you
I,
feel there is a
um, it's an I mean, it's a huge topic, and it's an interesting topic. And all I can kind of speak from is my own experience.
sure,
And I think I feel like quite privileged to come from such a supportive musical family, who, have always instilled into me the fact, it's your right to do this. Like, it's I was never there was never a seed of doubt in my mind that I couldn't do what I do for a living, and I couldn't be like a jazz guitarist, or I couldn't be a female guitarist. It was like, that was never that was never even a thought that crossed my mind. And I think, if I'm being entirely honest, I really don't think about gender, like, at all, and I never really have. I just think about, like we were saying, I just think about excellence, and I just think about trying to be the best at what I do. And I think that, for me, having that attitude has meant that I think people take me seriously, like, because I take myself seriously, and it's all about the music at the end of the day for me. So the music will speak for itself, whether I'm a guy or a girl, and the playing will speak for itself, whether I'm a guy or a
Sure.
girl. So it's like,
So, yeah.
yeah, I think it doesn't, I don't really think about it, but I do think I do, obviously there's a question mark in my mind why there are so few women in this genre, but I don't, yeah, I don't really, it's not really relevant for me personally. And that's just kind of, and that's served
Sure.
me well, I think. So that's kind of how it is for me.
That's a great way to answer your question. And at the end of the day, whether you're a musician, a mathematician, or astronomer, whatever, that's your life. And the more that people tell you no, because you are of a certain race, color, this or that, or you have an accent or whatever, like myself, and you gotta do what you gotta do in life, and the harder it is, the harder you work, and then eventually the music in your case will speak by itself, So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
That's all I hope for. Like I don't really I think that in our sort of in today's sort of culture, especially like with everything being so online, so on social media, it's like everything has to come with a statement attached to it or with kind of a storyline attached to it. So like a
yeah,
why did I release this album and why did I do this? But I just don't think that that's how it was done before. I think when you
sure.
have artists like Joni Mitchell, she's a prime example for me. It's like she's she puts her music out and it's like it's so distant from her. Like the songs that she writes has nothing to do with her. Like, let me see how I can put this. There's an interview of her talking about it as well. It's like if you listen to a song and you hear me talking about myself, then you've not got from it what I've intended. But if you listen to a song and you hear yourself in that song, like you hear your own truth in a song that I've written, then you're kind of that it's achieved its goal. So it's like I'm not trying to make music for myself. I'm trying to make music that people can find themselves in. And I think that is kind of very, yeah, detached from me and anything to do with me. Like, why do you care about me? I'm just the conduit at the end of the day. I'm not like, yeah, I don't really have much interest in telling people about my life and what I had for breakfast, and
Yeah. In
yeah.
2022 or 2023, you end up playing touring a lot, and you did over 60 gigs in the UK and in in Europe as well. Very impressive, man.
Yeah,
Very
it was.
impressive.
Thank you very much. I mean, it's my favorite thing to do. And it's amazing to be able to play that many shows like one on top of the other because I played it with the same band as well. I've been with my
Sure.
my two musicians, drummer and bass player for years now, and it's like you reach a point of real kind of ease with performing and playing your music, and it's like you've got everything so under your fingers that it's like breathing and you can just kind of express yourself on top of that.
Yeah.
So like you can play the songs but they'll be slightly different each night because you know them so well and you're so comfortable. So it's yeah, I mean we I love, what I love a European jazz festival. We did a lot of those, and I do love a European jazz festival. They're very good vibes, especially in Germany. I
Yeah.
love a
All right.
German jazz festival. They treat you very well. They treat you very, very, very well, and yeah, sound is always great.
That's great. And also, you I was reading that you have I've done a couple of rendition of Stevie Nicks' Dreams and of course Kate Bush Running Up the Hill that you played that night which they have what 2 or 3 million streams already. So good for you, good for you. Yeah, both Stevie Nicks and Kate Bush are
Yeah,
one of the
I mean,
best.
yeah,
So
really, I can really advocate for doing covers.
yeah,
I think it's a really cool way to bring people into your world. If you want kind of, so maybe someone who doesn't who is doesn't hasn't heard your original music, but then they hear the cover and they start to kind of put two and two together. It's also like a really interesting way to, there's always a hope that like the artist themselves will hear the cover. So I think, yeah, I love making versions of songs like that, and yeah, it's there's not too much thought that goes into it. I'll just be messing around with something, like with Dreams. It's obviously like two chords in the original, minus like the bridge. And I just think I was like to myself, I wonder what this would sound like with like like a reharm or like new chords and like more than two chords. And I think, yeah, it's sometimes those things just work when you do them. And for me, that felt like a really, I think, because that's like one of my most streamed songs on Spotify. Not that we approve of Spotify too much, but it's a metric at the end of the day. And yeah,
Yeah.
I think people like it because it's kind of still got the aura of the original maybe, but it's kind of a bit different, like with different chords. So yeah.
Yeah, Spotify is like a necessary evil, but it's a ripoff for artists. I mean,
For now, we'll see.
we'll
I give
see.
it 2 years.
Hopefully, they will be out of business because it's very unfair for musicians. You need to have like a million hits to get $10 to get a cup of coffee or something.
Yeah,
It's
literally,
not right. As
literally.
opposed to in Bandcamp, right, where in terms of sale you get 90 cents for a dollar, right? Uh,
Exactly. I
uh,
mean,
it's very, very fair.
for me, it's like a music culture thing as well with Spotify. Like the very I mean, there's I'm not sure if you cover this in your line of work, but like the AI music that they have on a lot of their playlists and stuff,
Yeah.
that they put onto. I mean, I'm not sure if this is proven. I think it. I mean, I just don't know what the other explanation is. But there's a lot of these tracks that are by like unknown artists on, racking up a lot of streams on Spotify playlists, and it makes financial sense for Spotify, of course, because they're not having to pay royalties on that music, if it's like an AI artist. So there's that's kind of maybe the more troubling element for me, because that then for me is leaning in a direction of like music being sort of like a mood more than a state, like an artistic expression. It's like we've got this, oh, let's listen to a happy mood playlist or an angry mood playlist, and so yeah, I think that's my main issue with those platforms, is that they're encouraging that sort of lean back listening thing, like passive listening thing, whereas the music that I love is all about like leaning in, and like I'm sure that you love as well, is about like listening actively and sitting down listening to a whole album and appreciating a body of work, and for everything it has to offer. So that's my maybe more of an issue for me with Spotify. But yeah, it's also doesn't pay great either, but
Oh, I completely agree with you. What are you working nowadays? Are you working new material? I'm quite sure you're always working, so always something in the background.
there's always something in the background. There's always something. I'm working on a new album,
Yeah.
and it's kind of taking shape. I've got kind of most of the songs there, but I'm just kind of figuring out how to piece them together, like in a production sense. And I'm like playing drums on a lot of the new music, which is really fun. Love playing the drums, but it's
Sure.
like, there's this slight doubt in my mind: is am I good enough to to play drums on this album? I think there's a Joan Alma Trading album that she played drums on, and she's like, I regret doing that, and so I don't want to be like that. But yeah, like, so there's a lot of new music, and hopefully like some kind of exciting collaborations on that will exist on that album,
Yeah.
that I can't say anything about, but we'll see.
Well, question will do a follow-up interview with camera.
Yes, I guess we'll have to.
We'll do another. So feel free to elaborate where you mentioned your website, where people can get a hold of you, can buy your music, and feel free to mention. I will be putting the links as in the description as part of the interview, but feel free to mention that there.
Well, I mean,
Your website, right?
yeah, the big thing is the mailing list for me,
Yeah,
like signing
yeah,
up to the mailing list, which you can do on my website,
yeah.
because you'll definitely get the info. Whereas if I'll take a follow as well, but like the mailing list is the big one for me. If you can do that,
Gotcha.
yeah, subscribing to the YouTube channel and stuff. Yeah, love. Yeah, if just checking out the albums too is all that I'm after. So
Yeah, that's right.
yeah.
I mentioned before we began recording that I'm going to be seeing Pat Metheny in like 4 weeks, so I will give him a copy of a copy of your latest record for him to listen, and hopefully something will come out of there. And I'm quite sure, Rosie, you I don't know, in 6, 7 years from now, you are going to be playing at the Royal Albert Hall. So fun. So
I hope so.
if that happens, I will be very happy for you, man.
I'll put you on the guest list. Don't worry.
That would be great. Rosie, it was very nice talking to you. Good luck to you. You're a very young, nice and young lady, and you have, the whole world in front of you. So go for it, man.
Yeah,
Show
great to
your
chat.
dreams and
Take no prisoners. Great to chat to
that's
you.
right. That's right. It was very nice talking to you, Rosie. Have a good
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
afternoon there.
Okay. Alrighty. Bye
Sure,
bye.
you bet.